Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Gustavo and today I'm going to teach you a little bit about refactoring. Let's start with what is refactoring. It's a technique in which you remake your code without changing its output, making it more readable and more understandable. It's used to lessen the design depth of your project. And what is the design depth? The design depth, it's the amount of time you spend working on a requisite. Let's say you need to correct a bug or you need to implement a new thing on your code. That's the time you spend doing that. If you have a code that's not well written, that it's not understandable, you will have to spend more time understanding that code. Alright? There are plenty of different refactoring methods out there, but for now I'm going to teach you about one called split temporary variable, aka split variable. Let's have a look at some code, shall we? Here we have a method in a class called refactoring. This method, I called it sine, cosine, and tangent. What is the problem with this method? You see, we have a local variable called temp that's being used to store different values throughout our code that have totally different purposes. And what is the problem with that? Let's say you have to implement the usage of this value in our code in the future after some processing, and well, you will have to reread all of your code and understand why is it being used for, what is it being used for. The problem is that this takes time, too much time, hence the design depth. And okay, how can we fix that? To fix that, we have to simply use different variables for different values. Each variable should be responsible for only one particular thing. Let's code, shall we? Okay, let's start with repeating the method signature: public void sine, cosine, and tangent. Repeating the parameters: int opposite, int adjacent, and int hypotenuse. Curly braces. Okay, now we're gonna make some new variables. We're gonna use a reserved word called final. That stands for constants, variables that won't have their value changed throughout our code. Final double. If you know your math, which you should, you will notice that this formula, opposite slash hypotenuse, stands for the sine formula, sine of an angle. So we're gonna call this variable sine. Sine equals opposite slash hypotenuse. Okay, we're gonna do the same for our following formulas. The second one stands for cosine, adjacent slash hypotenuse, and the final one, double tangent, stands for tangent. It's opposite slash adjacent. Now we're going to print our variables as our previous method did. System.out.print line sine. Same here. System.out.print line cosine, and then again system.out.print line tangent. Tangent. Okay, you will notice that by rewriting our code here, I made it more understandable, and I didn't change the code output. The final user, won't see anything change, because that's not the purpose of refactoring. In refactoring, we only change the code so that the programmer that will see your code understand it better. Okay, what did we do this for? In this example, which I made it easy, that was supposed to be easy for learning purposes, you notice that only by looking your method and the variables and the formulas, you will realize what it's for, that it stands for sine, for cosine, and for tangent. But let's say this is a more complex and a more difficult to understand method. Then we have more complex mathematical formulas. The programmer that will have to implement new things in this code will go crazy, because he'll have to understand all of the formula, understand what it stands for. If we pass him a simple name, a name that will mean something for him, that will lessen his work on implementing new stuff to the code and understanding it. Well, that's basically it for the split variable method. Like I said before, there are plenty of methods out there for you to try. Go on and search for more. Google is your best friend. And if you enjoyed this video, you can give it a thumbs up, and if you want more, you can subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time.